Hello, this is Nicholas Tanek on a Saturday night from yourkinkyfriends.com. Please welcome. This is a legend in the kink community, in the Australian kink community. She's in Australia. I'm in Jersey. So please welcome a writer, an entertainer, an educator, just a kinky person, a sometimes mistress. We'll find out all about that. You know, she loves newbies. She loves Australia. She's very much a part of the Australian kink community, which I gotta get over down there. So please welcome Mistress Jane Untamed.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Nicholas. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. So tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, there is a lot to tell, I guess. I dabble in lots of things, but mostly my mission is to bring femdom to the world. And I guess that started with being an educator to women, teaching women how to access their inner dominatrix. So that was in the form of hen parties. So newbies, women who just, have had a lifetime of submissive imagery thrown at them. I'm trying to access them and show them that you can flip it and have some fun with the other side. So that snowballed into lots of other different things, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Great. That's interesting because when I talked to you before a couple of times, we were talking about newbies. At first, I totally assumed, and please forgive me, I totally assumed that you were talking about submissives, but you're talking about newbies, femdom newbies.
The vanilla, as they like to call them. Not that vanilla should be a dirty word, but the uninitiated, or the ones whose only initiation has been that film or that book. You know that book.
I know that book. You don't have to say it.
I don't have to. So, that book had come out, the movie was on its way, and I'm like, no, we cannot let this happen. There is a whole nother world that these women, these newbies, these ones who have only been exposed to the mainstream, need to, access and need to see. So yeah, that's where I came along.
Okay. So one thing I'm very interested in is when people just come out for the first time as kinky people. Well, tell us about your first time you came out as a kinky person.
Oh, goodness. Well, look, I've been kinky since my teens, and I've also been blessed with a sort of don't give a damn what people think about me attitude since I was really young too. So most of my kink was behind closed doors, but I never carried the shame that most people carry with it. I just carried on. And so as far as turning it into a business and turning into a very public thing, though, that's only been going on for the last 5 or 6 years when I came out of a marriage. And all of a sudden had the maturity and the means and the intelligence to really make something of it, whereas before it was just a private thing. Once I came out of my marriage, I was ready to, take it to the world, I guess.
Okay, so tell us about that journey. So I went on a similar journey myself. I was in a marriage and I wanted her to be kinky. All I wanted was her to wear a French maid outfit.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think I hear it so many times over. I really do. I think a lot of us, including me, we went down that path of what the world said we needed to do. So the world was telling me I needed to settle down, have children, which I did, have the white picket fence, and I did all of that. And after 8 years of it, really became exhausted from playing that role, because it really was playing a role. And I was playing the role that I thought the world said I had to play. But I needed to get to my 30s to realize that I didn't actually have to do what the world was telling me I should be doing. So
that's very interesting that you say that, because I kind of fell in the same pattern. I mean, I was always kinky, like I would tie women up, but like I wouldn't. It wasn't until I was in my 30s I was like, oh yeah, you could put me in a dress.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess you get to know yourself and be comfortable with yourself and accept yourself, and it doesn't matter. It stops mattering to you what the world might think, even though the world's not even seeing it. We still worry about the world will think, even though we're having it. But if we're lucky, we evolve with
Okay.
age. A lot of us don't. A lot of us never get out of.
I feel so bad for them.
But I was one of the lucky ones. I escaped in my early 30s and escaped the marriage and escaped everything that the world. I let the world tell me I needed to be, and whew, here we are.
Yeah, seriously, I feel as a kinky person, as a proud kinky person, I'm a happier person, and not only that, I'm a kinder person.
Yes, because we seek to understand people now. We don't judge. I feel like there's the person that judges, and then the people who seek to understand, and that is absolutely one of the biggest things I love about this is all that they're seeking to understand people's kinks and seeking to understand where their fetishes come from, and I revel in it.
Definitely. Okay. So everybody's got their specialties when it comes to what they're working with right now. What would you say your specialty kinks or fetishes are right now, either personal or professional?
All right. Personally, I'm a latex fetishist for sure. Rubber's my thing. I've got a massive cupboard of rubber, and that absolutely comes out in my art. So my fetish photography, a lot of that is in rubber, or most of it is in rubber, because oh God, I love everything about it. On a professional level, my specialty is the newbies, is how you introduce kink as a beginner. How do you first bring it in? How do you broach the subject? What can you use around the house if you don't already have a dungeon or a big toy box? So it's those pervertibles, and introducing kink for the first time is definitely one of my favorite things. I like to call myself the gateway drug. So,
that's great.
Yeah, and I roll with that. It's at that introductory level. Anyone who wants to take it a bit further, I can absolutely introduce them to people who can take them into needle play or sounding or all those next level practices. But mine is how do you get started?
Okay, so I know in your profile you say you're a sometimes mistress. So does that mean you're sometimes submissive?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I will switch and I will bottom on occasion, but very occasionally. And that's because I've been spoiled, I think. I've had some wonderful mentors and some wonderful masters, and as a sort of natural dom or top, I really struggle not to pick apart people who are trying to top me with their technique and their methods. So you've got to be really good for me to be able to relax into that. Right? Yep, they know what they're doing. They're doing it right. I'm happy with what they're doing. They have that control.
What's funny is that my friend Luna is actually here, and I wish she'd come upstairs. But she's a submissive, and she gives her doms an application form, and they have to write an actual essay.
Oh wow, good on her. Awesome. That is ultimate topping from the bottom.
Yeah.
But that is the thing. It is so true. It is the submissive that has the control, that holds the control.
That's a good point.
And I really believe that as a dom, I'm in service. I call myself more a service top than a dom in private. And appreciate that. Yeah, I'm in service when I'm topping or I'm doming someone, and take that very seriously. And it's a submissive that is really is controlling.
Now you also do some writing. Tell us about that.
Oh, so that led on. So when I started doing my education, my courses, and I was approached by a dating site to be their resident kink expert. So started writing articles, and those articles were a beginner's kink, what beginners tools, what beginners toys should you go out and get? How do you introduce kink into the bedroom? How, why is it that so many of us like to be ravished and controlled, and, where do our fetishes come from? So articles like that, and I really, really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun, and then that led on to some podcasting after that as well. And I think that was even more of a better fit, actually, because I don't shut up.
No, it's great. Oh my God, I can listen to your voice for hours. Seriously. And you also do some entertaining. What is tell us about that?
Yeah. So as time's gone on, I've really been focusing on the art of fetish. So that began with photography, and bringing scenes to life through photography. So you see a lot of fetish models out there that look beautiful, and they're covered in their latex and they're gorgeous, but they're just there being themselves. Whereas what I like to do is create a scene and capture the scene, and have an image that tells a story. So a lot of my images are showing a power dynamic, or some kind of power play, or they're showing some pet play, or some they're setting a scene or telling a story. So that's where my photography came into it, and then that led on to being that person that's in the photos got into live performance. So I was performing in fringe theatre events as mistress with my puppy, or just as mistress roaming an event and imparting my knowledge and just being that dom and bringing that energy to an event. So gosh, and I love that the energy exchange that I get in a live performance.
So you're basically a producer in many ways. You produce shows.
Yes, yeah. So shows and producing
Strange Beast. What is that?
Oh, the Strange Beast. Okay, so that's led by an amazing Melbourne woman, Anna. She's the creative mastermind behind Strange Beast, and very classically trained in dance and movement. She knows how the audience works, and we met up, we connected, and I became her production manager, I guess. So mostly behind the scenes, getting things happening, but also in front. So I would be able to use my photography at a Strange Beast exhibition, or perform as Jane at a Strange Beast production. The Strange Beasts are a collective of lots of different Melbourne kink characters, and I guess the whole idea is to bring a feminist perspective. And when I say feminist, I mean just equal, not just sexy performances for the male gaze, sexy performances for both gazes, which there always needs to be more of. And Anna is an absolute creative genius, and she comes up with some extremely kinky, extremely provocative ideas, and performance art and installations, and that no one else is doing, because it's all a bit risque, and kink is still growing. The kink is still a niche around these parts. So
around these parts. It's funny that you say that, because I wanted to ask, Australia, it's very different from the United States, where I'm from, but it seems that you have a really cool community down there. So tell us about the Australian kink community.
We do have an awesome community. There are there are sort of statistics flying around that says Melburnian per capita has just as many swingers or kinksters, if not more, than any other part of the world. You know, we're a small place, but per capita, we're full of freaks.
That's awesome.
So we have an amazing festival down here once a year called Oz Kink Fest, where people from all over the world come, and so it goes for 2 whole weeks, and it's 2 whole weeks of workshops and performance and a massive expo and club events, and it's huge. It's, you know, it brings in tens of thousands of people. So I'm really, really proud that Melbourne's the host of that. It's certainly the only thing like it in Australia that gets run. And I know there'll be similar things in the US, in a lot of different states. But as far as Australia goes, Melbourne, I consider, is the kink capital of our country. And I think we get plenty of interest from international rope artists or educators coming down here pretty regularly. We're very lucky. So I've benefited from being able to train with people from all over the world by benefit of them all wanting to come and visit here. The other rumor is that we're quite hardcore, I hear. That people think that Melburnians, our edge playing is, you know, next level and a bit insane, which is kind of cool. But that's not my end of the spectrum. But yeah, I hear we've got some of the more extreme players down here too.
Interesting. Okay, we'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
But all right. So in America, we're dealing with something called fosta sesta. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah, it's got worldwide implications. That's absolutely hit us here as well. Absolutely.
So have you been affected by that, or just affected by prejudice when it comes to kink?
Oh yeah, for sure. So a foster sister, the main effect on me is the clampdown on social media and how social media rules have changed. You know, websites have closed down. I've seen lots of my peers lose work because they're still using the same websites, the same classified websites as what Americans use, because that's where the traffic is as far as Backpage and things like that. The way they advertise their services has had to change dramatically, and a lot of them have either, I don't know, had to sort of rethink their careers or rethink how they do things. Some new web pages have popped up, Australian, because Foster Sister, because even though it's American, so it doesn't affect Australian hosted sites, but we were still all using American hosted sites to advertise what we do. So it's meant that new Australian hosted sites have popped up for us to use, but the traffic's not there. Nothing got the traffic that Backpage used to get, or, you know, Tumblr or Facebook. I've had that many Facebook bans. It's just ridiculous.
Definitely. Okay.
You know, I don't show nudity in my art, but now that the law is simulated sex or suggestion of sex, I'm stuffed. Because I'm always safe because I never went anywhere near nudity. But yeah, lots of my imagery absolutely is of a sexual nature.
So hold on a second. So you're also an educator.
And that's not allowed either. Well, it's not allowed. I'm not allowed to advertise. So I can't use paid advertising on social media because what I do is deemed to be sex instruction, which means I've got to rely on a more, what's the word? I've got to rely on building my following organically without paying for advertising. So I put in a lot of hours into social media to gain followers in other ways by just being, you know, interesting.
Okay. But as an educator, have you taught classes?
Yes, but they're private. Yeah, so I will wait for someone to hire me.
All right. What kind of classes have you taught?
So mostly it's hens parties, actually.
It's
So
what?
women, hens parties. Oh, are they called hens parties over there?
I
You
have
know, when,
no idea what you're talking about.
what is it when women get married and they have they're like a bucks party? Do they call them bucks? When you get married and you go and have a party with your girlfriends and the boys go have a party with the boys.
Oh, okay.
Strippers. I'll go entertain the girls and teach them how to tie up their men and give them a spank, right?
Ah, nice. Okay.
That's
Okay.
how it started.
All right. So what's Magic Night?
Oh yeah. So that was a hens party company. So they've got a big venue in the city. And they will do a hens party package. I'm trying to think of what they call it. It's for bridesmaids, for all the bridesmaids and all the girls. And they'll do a package where they might do a life drawing class or a cocktail making class. And then Miss Jane comes in, being me, and I do the dominatrix class. So I'm part of the package for that party you have before you get married with all your girlfriends.
Okay, cool.
So,
So then there's Kinks, which is Kinkz, and that's a photography thing that you have
the
going on.
photography, and yeah, so my lovely photographer friend Jim, his nickname was Jim Kinks Callum, and him and I forged a really productive and creative partnership where he's the photographer and graphic designer, and I come in as, I guess, artistic director, wardrobe, makeup, all the rest of it. I come in with the concept, we create a scene, he shoots it, he makes it look amazing, and then we go and exhibit it. So we've been in art exhibitions, or we'll try and sell it, but mostly we're just pushing it out into the world of this is what we do. This
Okay.
is fetish photography, fetish art.
Now, like I've seen you for photographs, and they are breathtaking. They absolutely are wonderful. So, what have for someone who's involved in that? What are some misconceptions that some people have?
Ooh, about fetish art. Well, I guess it's not pornography. I keep my clothes on, and I've got absolutely nothing against not keeping your clothes on. Good on everybody who takes their clothes off. That's fine, but we don't need to do nudity to create something erotic. So there's pornography, and then there's erotica, I guess.
Oh, definitely.
And I like to think that what I create is erotica, which appeals more to the cerebral side of things. It plants a seed in your brain and you can run with it. So I create an image that makes you think and makes your brain start whirring at 100 miles an hour and take.
Definitely, I totally understand that. I have a thing for lingerie, or I have a thing for clothes, basically, and I would totally. Personally, I totally get more excited from a woman who's clothed in something provocative than someone who's just totally naked. That's just me, you know.
So absolutely. So some of that imagery will appeal to people who are into feet and shoes. Some of my imagery is for people who are into pet play. Nearly all of it is a femdom, people who are into femdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're appealing to their minds and giving them something that a fetish. A fetish is something that might not normally be associated with something sexual.
But now, what about you though? What about is there a certain thing that visually, aesthetically turns you on that kind of gets you going?
Aesthetically, oh, that's a really good question. Look, I like stuff that's got an element of sophistication and art about it. Is stylistically, impactful. But I absolutely, just on a really personal level, absolutely have an appreciation for the female form and the curves. and the softness. So, well, I like seeing images that absolutely play up the hips or the waist, or just the curve.
Totally fit that.
But but it doesn't have to be explicit. It doesn't have to be graphic. We just want something beautiful.
Yes, yeah, I am so with you on that. Oh my god! All right, so she jumped. I can't read my handwriting. All right, so adult matchmaker, was that what you wrote for?
Yeah, they're who I was writing for initially. Yeah, and that's where things start to snowball. So I came along with my little hens party business, my education business. Adult matchmaker jumped on and said, "Hey, we love what you're doing. Can you write for us?" And from there, opportunities just kept on getting thrown my way. And I really think it's only because I was the only one doing what I was doing in Melbourne, in my little town. I'm the only one that was out about doing what I do, and it was new and exciting. The media jumped on it. I was doing all these interviews for mainstream news outlets because it was just far out for its time. It's really lovely to see that it's less and less far out these days, but opportunities are still coming my way because in Melbourne there's no one really publicly being that femdom. We have some amazing professional dominatrixes here in Melbourne, but they are mostly doing their thing behind closed doors, and that's their business, and they're happy to leave it there. Whereas I'm the one that's out in public, going to mainstream events and being, fronting up and giving the world femdom publicly.
Okay, let's talk about rubber, because that's something that I'm kind of new to, and some of the people that I know are kind of new to. For someone who is new to rubber, how should we start?
Oh goodness, this is evil. Oh, I love introducing new people to rubber, and I will literally turn up to a friend's house with a suitcase full of it and just start playing dress ups and just get them to try it. And I guarantee, my conversion rate is so high up there. All I've got to do is get someone to try it on and feel how it feels, because, it hugs you and it constricts you. It constricts you, but it still breathes. It still moves when you breathe. So there's some give in it. So that feeling of being hugged and constricted and kind of in bondage in a way, but you can still breathe and see it move and flex in and out, is unlike any other feeling. So in 99 out of 100 cases, I can absolutely turn someone onto rubber just by giving them some.
It is a great feeling, I have to admit. And I'm just getting into it.
Good. Get them to touch themselves. Lube them up and get them to touch themselves. That's it. It's all over.
Okay, so there's professional and then there's personal. There are some professional people that I talk to who do like crazy things, like they slam penises in a car door, and then they go home and they want their vanilla sex. But then some live it 24/7 and they have slaves in their house and stuff like that. Do you have a current relationship right now, and what's like?
I am currently single, but I have lovers, I guess. Okay. And I like to say, all of my lovers put together into one person makes the perfect partner, really. But partner, they're just multiple people. But kink for me is it's a business. It's not a lifestyle, but it's definitely something that I love, and I love to practice privately. But I'm more than happy with what we tend to call weekday sex. Weekday sex. And that is more than satisfactory for me throughout the week. And then you have your special nights where you pull out all the rubber or you pull out all the toys. And, you know, my thing is really the playing with sensation and playing with power in the sensual realm. I'm not hardcore in my personal life. I can play that role and I can depict that imagery professionally, but personally, my end is the sensual end of sensation. So, you know, we're talking blindfolds and massages, and latex is absolutely a sensory thing for me.
So you would say you're more sensual than sadistic?
Yes, but I'm both. I'm both.
All right. So you brought up the sadistic thing. I
Yeah.
have to ask.
It can only be practiced with people who are into it, and you know, in real life, less partners are into the being victim to my sadistic tendency. So yeah, that's the special people.
Whenever I bring sadism into the show, or whatever, I always have to ask this: what is, in just off the top of your head, what is one of the most sadistic things you've ever done?
Oh goodness me! Oh my goodness! Well, I'm all about the mind fuck.
Yeah.
Sure. And again, it is a more essential end, but it is that having somebody bound and blindfolded and coming at them with something that they had no idea was coming. But so, you know, it's that light and shade and playing with someone at length whilst they're blindfolded and they don't know what you're about to do, and you're doing all sorts of different things, and you know, you lull them into a false sense of security and then wham, you know, whether that's an ice pack to the groin or, you know.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm glad you put that in, because the use of shadow can be very, very kinky and very, very alluring.
So no, it's because, you know, I am by nature quite sweet, and like, you know, I'm safe. People feel safe with me, and I love that. And you are safe with me. You absolutely are. But you know, if our relationship gets to a certain level where I feel like I can, you know, surprise you, a bit of shock and awe, then yeah, I will absolutely delight in that.
Okay, so the rabbit hole of kink goes deep, and like, I never thought I'd be into some of the stuff I thought I'm into now. Is there anything new you want to try that you haven't yet?
Oh my goodness. Not really. I've had some really awesome opportunities, and I'm an absolute make things happen kind of woman, you know, and I've made some amazing things happen. So I've been very lucky, but I think the thing that I don't get as much of, because of my own controlling dom tendencies, is someone who can really be in service to me more. I think we need a little bit more of that in my life would be lovely, but that's a process. That's a that might be a longer term.
So we have a segment here called BDSM on a Budget, and I highly recommend that if you have the money, anybody out there, if you have the money, support high-end BDSM products. Be careful, stuff like that. But you don't always have to spend money or spend a lot of money to be kinky. So what would you recommend to somebody who doesn't have that much money, who still wants to be kinky?
Oh, well. Oh, it's easy. And look, this is absolutely one of my pet causes, is what we call pervertibles. Pervertibles.
Oh, hashtag pervertibles.
Yes. you know, stuff that you can find around the house and you can pervert their usage into something else. So we're talking clothes pegs instead of nipple clamps. Talking, you know, neckties instead of blindfolds. What else? Hairbrushes for paddles. I've been known to tie someone up and blindfold them and then just run around their house and collect 20 different implements from around the house that are not sex toys to use on them. You know, water gun sprays, different kinds of scourers and things out of the shower and makeup brushes. You know, you just need it's creativity. You know, you need that perverted mind to look at an everyday object and go, I could use that. Yeah.
Definitely.
I could look around my own house and find you 30 things and go, that one's a paddle and that one's a crop and that one's a, you know, and they're everyday.
All right, rapid fire, and they don't have to be kink related. Okay.
All right.
Recommend a song.
Oh, God. Well, the obvious one is Chris Isaac. Baby did a bad thing.
It's a good song. It's a good song. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Yeah. Okay. Recommend a movie.
There's so much kink creeping into popular culture, though, pop song wise.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Recommend a movie.
Oh, Australian movie, My Mistress.
Oh, I saw that.
Have you?
Yeah. I saw that.
Awesome. And the latex wardrobes just to die for in it.
Yeah.
That's called My Mistress. It came out a few years ago.
My Mistress. Yes, definitely. All right. Recommend a book.
Ooh. Okay. Oh. That's a tough one because I was a massive reader, and you know, I read the classics. I love the classics. But is it Paulo Coelho who wrote The Alchemist? He wrote another book called Veronica Decides to Die, which just stuck with me forever, about, you know, basically the insanity of the things that we do every day because we think it's normal and we should and we have to, you know, like wearing a tie.
Interesting. Okay. Recommend a song.
A song. Oh Lord. Oh my gosh, where my roots are in, I like things like Jamiroquai.
Oh my God. I saw them the very first show ever.
Oh really? Well, you know, I love the messages in each song. So let's go with We're Too Young to Die. There's a theme going on here, isn't there? Yes.
The first album is amazing. The second album is pretty amazing too.
Yeah. The early stuff, the acid jazz stuff before it
the acid jazz stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
Even like the trip hop stuff, like Tricky and Massive Attack.
Yeah. That's my jam. Absolutely. So I'm a funk and soul girl.
All right, let's talk about music real quick before we get into the final thing. Do you use music in your sessions?
Yes, but I'll do something a bit more, not necessarily with lyrics, with a bit more repetitive, bit of techno, a bit of sort of ambient techno. Yeah, I want a beat. I want rhythm.
I've said this so many times before. Check out Brian Eno, Ascent.
All right.
Or it's also in parentheses an ending. It's and they looped it so it's an hour long. I go into subspace like that.
Perfect. It's an element. It's an absolute element that will help that the rhythmic. You know, find something that you can connect with your heartbeat. I did a sound healing session yesterday, actually, which was amazing.
Oh, tell us about that.
sound healing is there's not a lot of people who practice it, but it's like it's got shamanic sort of roots. But it's about letting go and relaxing and healing, and through sound, through drums, through tuning forks. You can absolutely let go of anything that's in your head. And what happens for me is the sound just takes over, and the sound just pushes everything else out of my body and is replaced by that sound, those waves of sound. And it was beautiful. It was lush. It was a treat.
Wow.
Sound healing, I recommend it.
Okay. Cool.
The chanting. It's all about, vibrations, and beautiful. And I sound like I'm not into woo-woo anything else. But I'm not into any of that stuff. But the sound thing works for me because, I love music.
All right. I wanted to, I have to say that. I have to ask this. Your outfit is absolutely amazing. Where'd you get it?
This one? Oh, this is my favorite one. So I wore my favorite corset for you.
So
this is made, this was custom made for me
by
an amazing woman in Melbourne called Marie, who had an outlet, a little boutique called the Marquis de Sade, of course. So she made corsetry and fetish wear, and she's now closed down. But when I first went into business, I went and invested in a couple of outfits from her, and they are investment pieces. They cost an absolute fortune, but they are worth it because they last forever, because we're talking steel boning and real leather, real everything. But yeah, thank you. This is my favorite piece ever, and it's my first piece ever, and it will be my favorite forever. So there you
go. Well, you look absolutely magnificent. So let's go to the final portion of the show, which is the word association. So I'm going to say a word or a phrase. You say the first thing that pops into your head. Okay?
All right.
So, if I say chastity, you may say lock. But if you have something, if you have like, I don't know, pizza in you're hungry and it's in the fridge, if I say chastity, you could say pizza. There's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
All right, that's the number one rule. Clear your head, say whatever the first thing that comes to your mind. Number one rule. Second rule, we don't kink shame. So if I say something, please don't make fun of it. Yeah.
No, I don't kink shame.
Yeah, please don't make fun of it. Please, just say, not my thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we got the jar. Tangle Blue from your kinky friends, who I love to death, sent me a jar of little pieces of paper with words, and I don't know what's on these things. So I am going to pick these out in the middle of this thing. So, all right. Ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right. Pegging.
Ooh, fun.
All right. Straight jackets.
Hot.
Leather.
Lush.
Right. International.
Ooh, that's success.
Okay. Choking.
Choking is caution.
Okay. French maids.
Sexy. Yeah.
All right. Sissies.
Sissies. Gorgeous. I love sissies. I know. What was next?
Chastity.
Cage.
All right. Face slapping.
Oh. Porn.
Face slapping.
Fake? Which? Pardon?
Face.
Fakes. Oh, wait, why?
All right. The daddy baby girl dynamic.
Oh, I'm fine with it. And you know, I'm obviously neither a daddy nor a baby girl, but no,
Okay. Latex.
oh,
Right.
is that a
Rubber.
word?
Yeah, that's fine. Rubber.
Rubber, shiny.
Okay. The Hitachi magic wand.
Oh, got one.
The violet wand.
Oh, yeah, there.
That's a good answer.
Awesome. Yeah.
Splashing.
Oh, fun. Fun.
All right. Wax play.
Oh, I love wax. Oh, yes, sexy. Sexy.
Knife play.
Oh, that's less my thing, but yeah, it can be done really well.
Fire play.
Doing firefighting again, all on safety.
Okay.
You know, I've seen it done beautifully, but you know, you want to know people are practicing the safety.
All right, let's go to the jar.
All right.
Like I said, I don't know what the hell's in this. So. Pubes.
Woo! They get in the way.
All right. The virus.
Oh, yeah, that's not sexy. Not sexy. But there's a lot of it out there. There's a lot of it out there. A lot. I think there's more out there than ever before.
All right. I don't know what this means, but she said wubba.
Oh, wubba. That's the wubba. I'm going with my latex wubba. Yeah, that's that stretchy.
Yeah, baby. Okay. Cock
and ball torture. CBT.
Oh, all right. Stitch.
Ooh, that makes me think of needle play, which you know I've seen a lot of. I don't do, but I absolutely appreciate the preparation and the training that goes into people who can do some amazing, turn into art. I've seen needle play turned into some beautiful art.
Definitely, I have seen that too. Okay. Okay. Cosplay.
Ooh, yeah. I love a costume. I'm always costuming up any excuse. And I'm really lucky here in Melbourne. There's lots of events where there's a theme. It might be a monthly kink event, but there's a costume theme. And it just gives me an opportunity to step out of my usual dom costumes, which I love as well. It's a big part of what I love about what I do is the costumes. Absolutely, what I get to wear. And I really think it's my number one tip for people who want to get started is I say, don a costume. Become someone else. You'll be surprised what you're capable of when you've got that costume to break the ice.
I totally agree with that. Okay, so water sports.
Oh, they're not my thing, but I get it. I don't know why they're not my thing. Just not my king. Not my king. Sorry?
Chastity.
Chastity is I know a number of men who are in chastity most of the time and wear a cage most of the time and love it. And I get it. Totally get it. I've not put someone in chastity in my personal life. But can absolutely play that role and see what that scene, that role play, what everyone gets out of it. I think it's pretty hot.
Okay. Okay. Flogging.
Oh, that's an art form. That's an art form which I've been taught by one of the best here in Melbourne, and he's an absolute magician at it. And we're talking double, Florentine, 2 floggers. Seen women who can do it just as well as any man as well. And I love the feel of a flog. So flogging is one of the things I teach as well to women. And it's a sensory thing and letting them touch and feel the suede floggers and the weight, you know, I love it. I can see the appeal of it, and whenever I introduce someone to it, they are hooked.
I think it's the rhythm of it that makes it so enjoyable.
Enjoyable, yeah, for the person receiving as well.
Yeah.
It is. It's like it can be like a massage.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, if you've got the rhythms, a massive element to it, and you've got that right, and you can, you know, throw in a few elements of surprise, mate. You've got somebody, you know, in your hands. Easy. Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite impact toy would be the flogger for sure.
Oh, before the
bare hands.
Oh, that or the riding crop.
Yeah, no, I think I prefer the flogger over all other impact toys.
You prefer the flogger? Okay, I can understand that. Okay. What do you think of the St. Andrew's cross?
Oh, yeah, no, they're almost not a necessity. If you've got one, awesome. If you can get one, if you can build one, do it. They absolutely enhance your ability to do all the things, especially all the impact things.
What about medical play?
It's not my thing. Again, I'm more on that sensual end. I think the imagery is hot. You know, the nurse but it's not my end of the spectrum, which is, you know, fine. I can watch it and be mesmerized, but at the same time, you know, a little bit like watching a car crash. Can't take your eyes away, and fascinated and mesmerized, but also a little bit nauseous about it all.
Yeah. Okay. So, and finally, we reach the end. Scat.
Not my thing.
Okay.
But again, I really don't kink shame and don't judge. My interest in fetish and kink is absolutely mostly intellectual, and the biggest part of that is wanting to know what makes people tick. Where did their fetishes come from? You know, why? Without judgment. I just want to seek to understand, you know, and that's
totally.
to understand is massive part of my fascination.
Definitely. Oh my God. Jane, Untamed. Mistress Jane Untamed, you've been absolutely amazing. Please stay on the line after we're done, but take this time, please, to promote everything you want to promote. Events, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. I don't care. Just go.
Thank you. All right. So yeah, I'm all over the socials. I'm Tamed by Jane on Twitter and Instagram. Tamed by Jane. And then on Facebook, I am Miss Jane, or Miss Jane AU for Australia. So I'm pretty easy to search though, and I would love your fellowship and fellowship and all the rest of it. I like to share educational things, and I like to share events, and I'm all about supporting our community and supporting anyone who's doing anything awesome in the kink realm. So I want to see it grow. So yes, thank you for your time.
Oh my God, thank you. Please stay tuned to yourkinkyfriends.com. I want Jane Untamed in articles. We got a whole bunch of stuff planned. So just reach out to me. Yourkinkyfriends.com. We have a chat group, Discord chat group. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. You could find me. It's okay. You know what? It's getting late. My Dom is calling me.
Yeah. See you later.
And remember the cardinal rule. Be cool, be kind, keep an open mind. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.